This is a pressing issue. You can't sew if you don't iron. Remember, you spend as much time at your ironing board as you do at your sewing machine to produce a well-made garment. Fortunately, with the right tools, pressing is easier than ever before. I'll give you a quick tour of pressing equipment, how it works, and what's going on when good irons go bad. Then I'll show you some pressing tools you can make for yourself. Here are several irons. This is an inexpensive iron that has a Teflon sole and steams. This is a higher priced iron with a few more features: burst of steam, anti-drip, and spray, plus over 100 steam holes. This iron has a crazy feature. When you take your hand off the handle, a leg pops out of the sole plate to lift it off the pressing surface. Some of these irons have an automatic shut-off feature that some sewers don't like because it forces them to wait for the iron to heat again when it shuts down between pressing steps. All of these irons work the same way. You add water through the top, dial up the heat setting, and set the iron for steam, which enables the water to trickle down to a chamber near the sole plate where it is heated until it turns to steam and escapes through the holes in the sole plate. As long as the sole plate stays hot enough to make steam, you shouldn't get water spots or dribbles. If your iron sputters and dribbles and doesn't seem to get as hot as usual, the heating element may be gone. That doesn't mean you have to buy a new iron. You can often get the heating element replaced at a small appliance fix-it shop. There was a time when all water-filled irons required distilled water. This is no longer true for most irons. In fact, tap water is recommended. Make sure you use the recommended water for your iron. Irons like this are sold under different names. A steam generator or a steam boiler are too. In this iron, the water is heated under pressure in a boiler and then fed as steam to the iron. The sole plate still heats, but not to make steam. On a regular steam iron, you have to wait for steam to be made. But when the steam is coming from a boiler, it's always available in a continuous, thumb-activated stream. One drawback of some boiler systems is that you have to let the boiler cool down before you add water. This isn't true with the system I'm showing you here because you can see the reserve water and refill it before it is pumped into the boiler as needed for constant steam. It's important to know your fabric's tolerance to heat so you don't scorch it or even melt it. Most natural fibers can stand more heat than synthetic or man-made fibers. Cotton, linen, silk, and wool can stand a higher temperature than nylon, acetate, or polyester. Always press a fabric scrap first to check how the heating setting works for your particular fabric. Sometimes when an iron is too hot, a fabric residue can stick to the sole plate. This product, Easy Off, removes burned-on fabrics or interfacings from your sole plate. Just rub it on a hot iron with a rag until the iron is clean. There are a few other pressing tools you'll fall in love with. You can even make some of them. A press cloth protects the fabric from getting shiny from the sole plate. A damp press cloth helps shape the fabric. It's nice to have two, a cotton and a silk organza one. A thick towel helps press embroidered monograms or motifs. Spray bottle. Pick one that has a nice fine mist and fill it with distilled water so it doesn't spot your fabric. Sleeve board, sleeve roll, or seam roll. All of these serve the same purpose, to press inside tubes like sleeves and pant legs, but they also have other advantages. You can make 3 of these. This 1-inch dowel makes a great seam roll. Make sure it is sanded smooth and is unfinished. The benefit of using a wooden dowel is that if you're careful, you can press only the stitching line of a seam and not the allowance, so there's no risk of leaving an impression in your fabric. This roll is extra long for pant seams. I made this years ago by padding a cardboard fabric tube with wool felt and then covering it with white cotton fabric. I'm demonstrating here with the towel, but felted wool makes good padding for a pressing surface because it wicks the water away. You can throw an old winter coat in a hot water wash and then into the dryer to felt the wool, and use several layers for padding. This roll was once very stiff, but over the years the moisture has softened the cardboard. If you make one of these, wrap the tube with aluminum foil before padding and wrapping to protect it from moisture. This homemade sleeve board was cut from a 1-inch thick piece of pine board, padded on one side and around the edges, and then a checkered cover was stapled over the padding. Covering pressing tools with checked fabric can be handy. Checks come in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1-inch squares. You can use them for measuring hem allowances as you press. Fabric comes with various starch-like fillers in it called sizing. Pre-wash the fabric before using it to cover pressing tools to remove the sizing. A tailor board with a point turner makes pressing curved seams open a cinch. Hems come in different shapes and sizes, but there aren't as many choices as there once were. The best variety might be available on eBay. They are essential for pressing curved and shaped sections of garments, shoulders, darts, hips, and bust lines. In the very next episode, I'm going to show you how to use these tools, so don't miss it.